In this video, we're going to be discussing features on a map. So we're going to be using this Chesapeake Bay mean surface salinity map because in earth science we are going to learn about salinity and we're also going to learn about the Chesapeake Bay. Okay, so first of all, let's discuss this term here. Mean is a math term. It means average. Okay, so what's the average surface salinity in the Chesapeake Bay? Salinity is salt content in the water. So how salty is the water? And you can see a trend here. Well, we'll get there. Let me take a step back. All right, so here we have a legend. A legend on a map tells us what things on the map mean. Okay, so in this case it's color coding because we have lots of colors on the map. So we know that red means 0 to 0.5 salinity in parts per thousand, and then dark blue is higher parts per thousand, higher salinity. All right, we also have down here a map scale, which is used to show us distance. So what distance is represented on this map. If you had a ruler and a piece of paper, it would be a lot easier to tell distance, but you can see there's a scale for kilometers and there's a scale for miles. Another important part of the map is this, and it gets small and sometimes it's hard to find, but it is your compass. It points north so you can be oriented to other directions so that you can see that the Chesapeake Bay does have, the Susquehanna River is at the northernmost end of the Chesapeake Bay. And Salisbury is in the western end of the Chesapeake Bay. Okay, now we're going to be looking at how can we interpret these maps. So we're going to use the legend and then see what it's telling us. We see that there's less zero salinity the further away from Norfolk that you are. And that would be because down here is the Atlantic Ocean, which is going to be more salty because it is an ocean, so it has salty water. All right, latitude and longitude, super important, but I'm going to go over this in review. So latitudes are also referred to as parallels. They are lines that are north and south of the equator. So the equator is a super important line of latitude. It's 0 degrees latitude, and everything is measured against the equator. So 0 degrees is the equator, 0 degrees latitude is the equator, 90 degrees north is the North Pole, 90 degrees south is the South Pole. And you can see how that 90 degrees is found. So it forms a perpendicular line, which is how we get the 90 degrees. Or it forms a 30-degree line or a 45-degree line. So they're also called parallels. They're measured in degrees north or degrees south. That also tells you what hemisphere you're in. If you're in degrees north, that equals the northern hemisphere. If you're in degrees south, that means you're in the southern hemisphere. Other important lines of latitude that are not on here are the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, which are at about 23.5 degrees north and 23.5 degrees south. We'll revisit these when we talk about seasons. All right, so lines of longitude. They are the lines that go up and down. Latitude go like that. They are also called meridians. Okay. Some important lines of longitude are the prime meridian because it's 0 degrees longitude, and then also the international dateline is 180 degrees longitude, so that's really important also. All right, longitude are measured in degrees east and west of the prime meridian. So that's important to know. And when you're writing latitude and longitudes or coordinates for a place, you always write them latitude, degrees north, longitude, degrees west, for instance. And just kind of similarly how we divided latitude into hemispheres, longitude can be divided into hemispheres, east and west. So when you get a latitude, it tells you I'm in the northern hemisphere. I'm in the northwestern hemisphere. So that kind of pinpoints your location. All right, so some latitude and longitude practice. I'll just do a couple of these. All right, so for instance, let's look at point H. Well, first and foremost, what I always like to do when I come across a map is I see this 0 degrees latitude, which is my equator. So I always write north, north, south, south. And then I find my 0 degrees longitude, which is my prime meridian. And I know east, east, west, west. It makes it a whole lot easier when I go around to write the numbers, so I don't have to keep figuring out what hemisphere I'm in. All right, so we're going to do point H. So the coordinates for point H, we go latitude first. So here's my latitude. Looks like we are south. So let's say right about 15 degrees south. And then halfway in between 60 and 90, 75 degrees east. Okay, latitude first, then longitude. Let's do point A, which is up here. So we do latitude first. So latitude, I am 75 degrees north. And then, oh, that was an easy one, 90 degrees west. But you should get the hang of it. Oh, looky down here. We have a map scale. How nice to show us what distance is represented on this map. Lovely. Okay, so one more thing about latitude and longitude. So degrees are huge units of measurement. So when we're looking at smaller maps, we divide degrees up into minutes and then seconds. So these are, here's a degree, here's a minute, and then a second will have something with those two hash lines. Okay, so we're going to practice doing some points. So let's do point B because that looks easy to me. All right, so we got to do longitude first. So we're looking across. What's my longitude? So there's my 39 degrees, and then here's 38. So I know that from here to here it goes up. So I'm going to start here. So I'm 38, I'm at point B, 38 degrees. And then this here is 50 minutes, so B is on 55 minutes. All right, and then longitude, lines down. So now I have, here's my 77. Oops, I should have wrote north. My bad. All right, 77 degrees. And then 08 minutes. So just the closer you get to minutes and seconds, the more accurate your data point would be, the more accurate your location would be. A lot of the times when you guys are going to see them on Google Earth or in Google Maps, it's going to give it to you like a decimal point, so a long decimal point, and either format is okay.